All right, good news for the sports world in general. Things are starting to come back slowly. The governors of California, New York, and Texas have all said that pro sports could resume in their states in the near future. However, one player who is unsure if he'll be returning even if the season resumes, Cavaliers forward Larry Nance Jr., who has Crohn's disease. Nance spoke to you, Brian, about this, and here's his quote about his pre-existing condition and potentially missing a resumed season. Quote, "I would hope there would be an understanding, from the league, if someone didn't feel comfortable coming back, that you get a pass. Just because you may look like the picture of health, some people have issues you can't see." And Brian, this brings up an interesting point. If a player doesn't want to play this season due to health concerns, what would the fallout be in terms of their contract?
Well, we don't know yet. I mean, knowing what I know about the NBA, I don't think that they would cause any issues here. If a player wasn't comfortable, I don't think they would fine them or anything like that. And Larry is trying to play. He's done a lot of work with his doctors, and he believes that the treatment that he's on would actually help him fight off an infection, but he doesn't know. And obviously, there's not that many NBA players that have pre-existing conditions, although just because we don't know about them doesn't mean that they're not there. And he also points out that it's not just about the players. What about the coaches? What about the players' families? What about other people's support staff's families? This is something, there's so many different things to worry about and to figure out for any sports league. This is just another one, because if you have a pre-existing condition, especially if your immune system, like it is with Larry Nance, you could be more susceptible.
And also, I do wonder, Jay, if they treat it maybe not like a holdout in terms of finding, because as you said, Brian, I wouldn't expect them to fine anyone, but I do wonder if they say, great, you want to take the rest of this season off, it's going to be basically like an unpaid leave. We won't pay you, but your contract then goes to the next year, which is what happens in the NBA if a player holds out. Jay, I don't know if you think that would be fair to them, or if the pressure in general is unfair to players during this pandemic.
Well, I think that life is kind of in an unfair position for a lot of individuals, just not, professional athletes, but I know a lot of people across the country that are going into work, and, somebody gets sick at work and they bring a company in to decontaminate the office space, and then the next 2 days they're back at work again. So I think a lot of people, and Brian, just to add a caveat onto your conversation piece, is that how about coaches? How about people like Greg Popovich, who's older, Coach Bud, people who are over 70 years old? How do they handle this? This is not preconditioned conditions as well, but it's also, people who are older, who their immune system may not be as up to date as others due to age. So this is a big issue moving forward, and you will hope that a lot of companies, look at what Jack Dorsey's doing over at Twitter. He's saying that employees can work forever at home permanently. So you will hope a league as progressive as the NBA would have a lot more social responsibility, would understand that if a player or coach decides not to participate, that there wouldn't be any kind of, strike against them or maybe hold out on payment. You hope so.
Well, look, and first of all, it would be nice if NBA players could work from home, but of course they can't in the larger sense. I'm not saying that pay should be withheld as a strike against them. It just gets complicated in the contract year. You could either treat them as, quote, injured, which means they get paid and their contract year continues and it just uses up that year. If you're a team like the Clippers, say, who only has Kawhi Leonard under contract without his player option kicking in for 2 seasons, and this is one of them, you might say to him, if I'm just picking a name out of the air, by the way, there's no known pre-existing condition with Kawhi, but you might say to Kawhi Leonard, great, absolutely, if you don't feel comfortable coming in, we totally get it. We're not going to make you won't be fined, but we still want that year on your contract, and you're going to have to serve it next year. We don't want to just only have 1 year of Kawhi Leonard, for example. And again, that's just a name out of a hat, but it is complicated for teams. It goes beyond just, do we want to give them money or not, but their rights as well. And I think it's going to be a lot to work out. And maybe the NBA just says, hey, we're going to treat it like an injury. It's bad luck for the franchise that they're not going to get their full year, and we're going to move on from there. We will find out. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.